Tell us, what does this homecoming mean for the company? And is it going to see the same fate as what we saw with the Alibaba listing here?
Yeah, thank you. So I do think so. So I guess even for NetEase last week, they did quite well. So I think JD tomorrow will likely to have similar, experience with Baba and NetEase.
And it seems like right now the policy threats we're hearing from the U.S. is overshadowing perhaps Hong Kong's own political troubles here and questions of its future as an international hub. I take a look at when it comes to some of these ADRs in the U.S., and most of them are owned by U.S. institutional investors, JD.com included. How willing do you think is that investor base to switch to these Hong Kong shares? And could that actually affect the liquidity and demand after the listing?
Mm-hmm. Sure. I think in our view, so far, if you look at both Ali for the past 6 months, right, I think liquidity-wise, the ADR still, doing better, slightly better than Hong Kong. But over time, we actually started to see more institution funds, if they don't have any restriction owning share outside of the U.S., have been moving their shares or converted into the Hong Kong 9988 for Baba. So we could see a similar pattern for NetEase and JD shareholder over time. For the U.S. investor, if they don't have any restriction, they would likely to switch some of these holding into the Hong Kong. The reason is because one is it's getting closer to the home market where the news flows are happening during the daytime and you can actually trade on the same time zone. And then second is that a lot of the big mutual funds and even hedge funds actually already have their subsidiary office in Hong Kong with their analysts or even PM making decisions in the region, which I think will be helpful for them if they have their shares converted to Hong Kong. And over time, I think given the risk, obviously we don't know what could be outcome, right, in 3 years' time. But over time, we do expect more and more shares are converting to Hong Kong, which I think on liquidity side, it will get better over time.
How do you think the Hong Kong IPO is going to impact the ADRs, though? Is it going to hurt or boost them? Because the Hong Kong shares trade at a discount to what we're seeing in the U.S. And of course, there is concerns that they may delist in the U.S. as well.
Mm-hmm. I think if we look at, for example, taking Baba, right, over the past 6 months, the discount between the ADR and the Hong Kong share is, give or take roughly about only 2% if we adjust it for the foreign exchange difference, right? And then NetEase obviously only for 1 week, we didn't see too much of the difference. So we think that maybe JD and NetEase over time would trade with very small, a narrow discount. Only difference, I think, is the exchange rate. And I think that there is another issue, I guess, on Hong Kong side, on retail, given, I think, because Hong Kong, we have to trade on a per lot basis. So versus U.S., you trade individual one shares of ADR. So on the commission side, it might be a little bit cheaper electronically in the ADR market. But then I think over time, this is for institutions. I don't think that is a big problem. So I think the discount, I think, is quite small to our understanding, if Baba's proxy could be referenced for JD and NetEase.
Alicia, the online space is increasingly competitive, especially with Baba there. What are the risks to JD's outlook going forward, given this increase in competition? Yeah, so indeed, so the e-commerce space has never lack of competition, so to say, right? Ever since JD was founded, many years ago, 17 years ago. I would say right now, we look at, given the market, we still have a lot of different categories are moving from offline to online. So the market is actually still growing. So all the online players are gaining shares from the offline players. So now JD, on top of the retail business, they actually have built up a pretty sizable finance business, the logistic business, and even into the healthcare business. So I would say when we look at JD from now going forward, we should actually think about more than just retail or e-commerce business, especially in terms of the future prospect.